First contact. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck of the colony ship Ascended, watching the stars streak by as they traveled through the void between systems. Humanity had been expanding outward for centuries now, establishing colonies on distant worlds, but the vastness of space still humbled her. After 20 years in cryosleep, she and her crew of 5,000 colonists were on their final approach to Kepler 452 bits, a planet scientists had nicknamed Earth's cousin, for its remarkable similarities to humanity's birthplace. Commander, we have an anomalous reading at coordinates 227 Mark 43. Lieutenant Park called from his station. It's not in any of our charts. Elena moved to his console, studying the readings with a furrowed brow. Natural phenomenon. Negative. The energy signature suggests artificial construction. It's moving, ma'am. Plot an intercept course, she ordered after a moment's consideration. But keep us at a safe distance. Wake the primary exploration team. The object grew larger on their screens as they approached. A massive vessel unlike any human design they'd encountered. Where human ships were all sharp angles and utilitarian construction, this craft appeared almost organic, with curves and bulges that resembled natural growths. Peculiar black patches mottled its hull, absorbing all light that touched them. It's approximately 3 kilometers in length, Park reported. And there's something else. It's emitting trace amounts of oxygen and carbon dioxide. A breach in their life support. Elena wondered aloud. Dr. Amara Chen, the expedition's chief xenobiologist, shook her head. Or it could be their life support functioning normally. Not all species breathe nitrogen-oxygen mixtures like we do. Elena assembled a team of 12 specialists, scientists, engineers, and security personnel to investigate the vessel. As they approached in their shuttle, the enormity of the alien craft became more apparent. What they had initially thought were design elements were actually massive transparent domes containing what appeared to be dense vegetation. It's like someone built a ship around an entire ecosystem, Dr. Chen murmured, recording everything with her neural implant. They found what appeared to be an entry point, a circular aperture that dilated open as they approached, revealing a chamber that could serve as an airlock. After running atmospheric tests that showed the air was surprisingly Earth-like, though heavy with plant spores and oxygen, the team cautiously entered. The interior was a marvel that defied conventional spacefaring logic. Corridors were lined with living plants, not decorative gardens, but integral components that seemed to be part of the ship itself. Vines served as conduits, flowers pulsed with bioluminescence providing illumination, and thick root systems disappeared into the walls. These plants aren't just cargo or decoration, Dr. Chen said, her voice filled with wonder. They're integrated into the ship's systems. I think they might be the ship's systems. As they ventured deeper, the vegetation grew denser. Strange fruits hung from ceiling-mounted vines, their surfaces rippling as if responding to the team's presence. Condensation dripped from broad leaves, creating a humid, almost tropical environment. Movement ahead, Security Chief Rodriguez warned, raising her pulse rifle. What they saw defied easy classification, a cluster of vines and roots that appeared to be moving with purpose, coalescing into a roughly humanoid shape. It stood before them, swaying slightly, flower buds opening and closing along its arms in patterns that seemed almost like communication. Dr. Chen stepped forward despite Rodriguez's protests. "Hello," she said simply. "We come in peace." The entity didn't respond verbally, but the flowers on its form began emitting puffs of pollen that formed intricate patterns in the air. Chen's implant struggled to analyze them, but after several minutes she gasped. "It's a language, a visual language using pollen dispersal patterns. My translator is beginning to identify recurring symbols." After an hour of careful communication attempts, Chen managed to establish a rudimentary dialogue. The entity called itself a speaker for something called the Verdant, collective intelligence composed of various plant species that had evolved sentience and technological capability over millennia. "They're telling us this ship, The BioGenesis is over 3,000 years old, Chen reported. It was designed to preserve their species after their homeworld suffered some kind of catastrophic event. Alina, who had been patched in via comlink, asked, "Can they tell us where they're from? Perhaps we can offer assistance." The pollen patterns shifted rapidly as Chen relayed the question. The response made her blood run cold. "Commander, they say they're from Earth." A stunned silence fell over the team. "That's impossible," Rodriguez muttered. "We left Earth less than 30 years ago. It was fine." The verdant speaker continued its pollen communication, which Chen translated with growing horror. "They say they're from Earth's future, our future. Some kind of global catastrophe approximately 200 years from now caused massive extinction events. Plant life evolved rapidly in response, developing intelligence and eventually technological capability. They built ships like the BioGenesis to escape the dying planet." "Time travel?" Alina asked skeptically. "Are we supposed to believe they traveled backward through time?" "Not exactly," Chen replied, still interpreting the complex pollen patterns. "They say they encountered a spatial anomaly, what they call a fold in the fabric, that displaced them not just in space but in time. They've been adrift for centuries, unable to navigate properly." The implications were staggering. This vessel contained evolved plant life from Earth's own future, a future where humanity had apparently perished or abandoned their homeworld. "Ask them what happened to humans in their timeline," Alina instructed. The answer was both tragic and ironic. According to the verdant, humanity had largely destroyed itself in resource wars after climate change had rendered much of Earth uninhabitable. The few who survived were eventually integrated into the verdant collective through symbiotic relationships, their consciousness preserved within specialized plant structures. "They want to know if we'll help them repair their navigation systems," Chen reported. "In exchange, they offer to share their biological technology. Methods of sustainable living, they say, could help us avoid their timeline's fate." Alina faced a monumental decision. If what the verdant claimed was true, the knowledge they possessed could be invaluable. But trusting an alien intelligence, especially one claiming to be from a dystopian future, carried enormous risks. "Tell them we need time to consult with our ship's council," she finally decided. "But we're open to cooperation." As the team prepared to return to the Ascendant with their findings, the verdant speaker extended a vine, offering what appeared to be a fruit. "A gesture of goodwill," Chen translated. "They say it contains concentrated genetic information, a taste of their technological capabilities." Under controlled conditions aboard the Ascendant, the science team analyzed the fruit. What they discovered was revolutionary: organic computing systems more advanced than anything humanity had developed, capable of self-repair and evolution. The fruit contained engineered plant cells that could process information similar to quantum computers, but using biological processes. The ship's council debated for days. Some, like Dr. Chen, advocated for full cooperation with the verdant. Others, including Security Chief Rodriguez, warned of potential deception or contamination. Alina listened to all arguments before making her decision. "We'll proceed with cautious cooperation," she announced. "We'll help repair their navigation systems while learning what we can from their biotechnology. But we maintain security protocols and limit their access to our systems." When they returned to the BioGenesis, they found the verdant had created more speakers, plant constructs designed specifically to facilitate communication with humans. Through these intermediaries, they learned more about the collective consciousness that drove the massive vessel. The verdant wasn't a single entity, but billions of plant organisms sharing a distributed intelligence. They had evolved beyond the simple stimulus response mechanisms of Earth's current plant life, developing complex problem-solving capabilities and eventually technological innovation. Their symbiosis with human survivors had given them unique insights into human psychology and physiology. They understood human needs and limitations in ways that most alien species couldn't. As the humans helped repair the BioGenesis damaged navigation systems, the Verdant shared more of their biotechnology. They demonstrated how organic structures could be grown instead of manufactured, creating sustainable habitats that recycled all waste and produced their own energy. This could revolutionize our colonization efforts, Elena realized. Instead of terraforming planets to suit our needs, we could grow adaptable habitats that work in harmony with existing ecosystems. But not everyone was convinced. Strange incidents began occurring aboard the Ascendant, crew members reporting vivid dreams of merging with plant life, unexplained plant growth in sealed compartments, and subtle changes in the ship's environmental systems. "They're trying to take over," Rodriguez insisted. "This is how it starts. Subtle infiltration before they convert our ship into another one of their vessels." Dr. Chen disagreed. "They're not hostile. These are unintentional effects of their spores interacting with our environment. Remember, they evolved from Earth plants. They're distant relatives of our own biosphere." The tension came to a head when several colonists still in cryosleep showed signs of plant-like cellular structures developing in their bodies. Rodriguez demanded immediate severance of all contact with the BioGenesis. Chen argued passionately that the changes weren't harmful, that they might even be beneficial adaptations. Their medical technology is centuries beyond ours. These changes could enhance human capabilities, extend lifespans. Elena faced the most difficult decision of her career. The potential benefits of continued cooperation were enormous, but the risks were equally significant. After much deliberation, she proposed a compromise. A small team of volunteers would remain with the Verdant to continue the cultural and technological exchange, while the Ascendant continued to its original destination. "Those who choose to stay will be our ambassadors," she explained. "They'll learn everything they can about the Verdant's technology while ensuring they understand our boundaries. Meanwhile, our colony will establish itself on Kepler 452 bits as planned." Dr. Chen immediately volunteered to lead the exchange team, along with 30 other specialists who saw the incredible opportunity this represented. As the Ascendant prepared to depart, Elena stood before the Verdant speakers one last time. "Our paths have crossed in a way neither of us could have predicted," she said. "Whether your origin story is true or not, the knowledge you shared has already changed our future. Perhaps together, we can create a timeline different from the one you remember. One where humanity and intelligent plant life find a way to coexist and thrive." The speakers released a cloud of golden pollen that formed intricate patterns in the air. Patterns that, according to Chen's translator, represented hope, cooperation, and new beginnings. As the Ascendant pulled away from the BioGenesis, Elena watched the massive vessel through the observation window, its black patches seeming to pulse with life. Whatever the future held, humanity's understanding of life in the universe had been forever altered. The line between technology and biology, between sentient and non-sentient life, had blurred in ways they were only beginning to comprehend. The journey to Kepler 452 bits would continue as planned, but the colonists would arrive with new perspectives and new technologies that would shape their approach to settling their new home. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the exchange team would be learning secrets of survival from beings who had witnessed the end of one world and the beginnings of another. Elena turned away from the window, facing the challenges ahead. "Set course for Kepler 452 bits, she ordered. "We have a colony to build, and a future to change." Evolution's edge. 6 months after their encounter with the BioGenesis, the colony ship Ascendant successfully established New Terra, humanity's newest outpost on Kepler 452 bits. The planet lived up to its nickname as Earth's cousin, with breathable atmosphere and compatible biology, though its gravity was slightly stronger than Earth's and its days longer. Meanwhile, Commander Elena Reyes maintained regular contact with Dr. Chen's exchange team aboard the alien vessel. The reports she received were nothing short of revolutionary. "The Verdant's biotechnology is unlike anything we've ever conceived," Chen explained during their weekly transmission. "They don't build machines, they grow them. Their computers are complex networks of specialized plant neurons. Their energy systems harness something similar to photosynthesis, but magnitudes more efficient. Elena watched as Chen activated her neural display, projecting images of the human team working alongside the plant constructs. Most striking were the subtle changes in the humans themselves, thin, vine-like structures visible beneath their skin, lending them a faintly green tinge. These are symbiotic enhancements, Chen explained, noting Elena's concerned expression. Completely voluntary and reversible. They increase our oxygen efficiency by 340% and allow us to photosynthesize approximately 20% of our required energy intake. And there are no side effects? Elena asked skeptically. Chen's smile was reassuring. Only beneficial ones. Increased healing rate, resistance to radiation, enhanced immune response. The verdant have been modifying themselves for millennia. They've eliminated the trial and error. The most significant breakthrough came 3 months later when the combined efforts of human engineers and verdant bioarchitects completed the integration of verdant navigation technology into a human shuttle. The result was a hybrid vessel, part traditional spacecraft, part living organism, that could detect and traverse facial anomalies. We're calling it the Tendril, Chen reported. It's capable of speeds we've only theorized about, using gravitational slipstreams that conventional sensors can't even detect. While the technological exchange flourished, cultural integration proved more challenging. The verdant's collective consciousness operated on fundamentally different principles than individual human minds. They struggled to understand concepts like personal privacy, while humans found it difficult to comprehend the verdant's distributed identity. They don't think of themselves as individuals in the way we do, Chen explained during one transmission. A verdant can split itself into multiple bodies or merge with others without losing its sense of self. It's like they're both many and one simultaneously. Despite these differences, the exchange teams developed effective collaboration methods. Humans learned to communicate through pollen patterns, while the verdant created specialized plant structures capable of producing sound waves that mimicked human speech. On Kepler 452 bits, the colony incorporated verdant biotechnology into their infrastructure. Buildings were part-grown rather than fully constructed, creating living structures that regulated their own temperature, filtered air, and produced supplemental food. 8 months into their parallel ventures, both groups detected something troubling. The Tendril, during a test flight, encountered energy signatures suggesting massive objects moving through nearby space, objects that didn't match any known natural phenomena or human vessel. Whatever they are, they're big, reported Captain Liam Suzuki, the Tendril's pilot. And they're moving with purpose, maintaining formation and adjusting course to intercept specific star systems. The verdant's reaction was immediate and alarming. Their entire vessel shifted into what Chen described as a defensive configuration, with external structures hardening and internal spaces reorganizing for maximum efficiency. They'd recognize these signatures, Chen explained urgently. They call them the Harvesters, a species that systematically strips planets of all biological material. According to verdant records, the Harvesters were responsible for destroying numerous worlds in their original timeline. Scans confirmed the Harvesters were on a trajectory that would bring them to Kepler 452 bits within months. The fledgling colony, with its limited defenses, would be helpless against such a force. We need to evacuate, Elena decided after consulting with the colony's leadership. But evacuation presented its own problems. The colony ship wasn't designed for rapid redeployment, and there weren't enough smaller vessels to transport all 5,000 colonists. It was the verdant who offered an alternative. They're proposing a merger, Chen explained, her expression a mixture of awe and uncertainty. Not just of our technologies, but of our people. They want to extend the BioGenesis to encompass New Terra, to essentially grow their ship around our colony. The proposal was met with skepticism and fear. Many colonists viewed it as a takeover rather than an alliance, but as details of the Harvester threat emerged, resistance began to wane. This isn't about choosing between human and plant, Chen argued during a tense colony meeting. It's about survival. The verdant have faced the harvesters before. They've evolved specifically to resist them. After days of debate, Alina made the difficult call. We proceed with integration, she announced, but with safeguards and exit protocols. If at any point this threatens our autonomy as a species, we retain the right to separate. The process began immediately. The BioGenesis landed on Kepler 452 bits, its massive structure dwarfing the human settlement. From its hull, specialized root systems extended outward, enveloping the colony buildings without destroying them. Within days, the entire settlement was encased in a living shield of verdant biomatter. Human engineers worked alongside verdant architects to integrate their defensive systems. Conventional weapons were augmented with biological countermeasures, spores that could disable electronic systems, pollen clouds that could act as sensor scramblers, and hardened plant structures capable of absorbing enormous energy impacts. The transformation wasn't limited to technology. As the harvesters approached, more colonists voluntarily accepted symbiotic enhancements, gaining abilities that would help them survive the coming conflict. This isn't evolution by natural selection anymore, Dr. Chen observed. It's directed adaptation, conscious choices to become something new. When the harvester fleet arrived, it eclipsed the star. 12 massive vessels with crystalline structures extending from core bodies that pulsed with ominous energy. They deployed smaller craft that descended toward the planet's surface like metallic insects. The battle that followed defied conventional warfare. The verdant-enhanced colony released clouds of specialized spores that infiltrated harvester systems, causing cascading failures. Hardened plant structures absorbed energy weapons that would have vaporized traditional materials. Human tactical thinking complemented verdant defensive strategies in ways neither species could have achieved alone. But the harvesters adapted quickly, deploying countermeasures that targeted the plant matter specifically, engineered pathogens and chemical agents designed to break down cellulose and plant proteins. They're burning through our outer defenses, Rodriguez reported grimly. At this rate, they'll reach the core colony in hours. It was Alina who proposed the desperate strategy. The verdant can communicate across their entire biological network instantaneously, correct? When Chen confirmed this, Alina continued, and your shuttle, the tendril, can navigate the spatial anomalies the verdant call folds. Yes, but I don't see. Chen began. What if we create our own fold? Alina interrupted. Not to travel through, but as a weapon. The plan that emerged was audacious. Using the tendril's unique navigation system, they would create a controlled spatial distortion directly in the path of the advancing harvesters. Simultaneously, the verdant would extend specialized root systems into the distortion, creating a biological conduit through which the colony could channel a massive electromagnetic pulse. The spatial distortion will amplify the pulse exponentially, Alina explained, and the verdant network will ensure it targets only harvester systems. The implementation required perfect synchronization. Human engineers worked to modify the colony's power core to generate the necessary pulse, while verdant specialists grew the biological conduits that would channel it. As the final harvester assault began, the trap was sprung. The tendril created a shimmering distortion in space just above the planet's atmosphere. Through this aberration, the verdant extended a massive network of specialized roots. And through this organic scaffold, the colony unleashed every joule of energy they could generate. The result exceeded even their most optimistic projections. The pulse, amplified by the spatial distortion and focused through the living conduit, struck the harvester fleet with devastating precision. Their systems failed catastrophically, vessels colliding with each other as control mechanisms shut down. Within moments, the threat was neutralized. The remaining harvester ships, unable to coordinate or maintain formation, retreated into deep space. The victory came at a cost. Large portions of the verdant structure were damaged beyond recovery. Many of the enhanced humans suffered severe trauma as their symbiotic systems overloaded. The colony's power infrastructure was completely drained, leaving them dependent on emergency systems. But they had survived. And more than that, they had evolved. In the months that followed, the distinction between human colony and verdant vessel gradually disappeared. New structures emerged that were neither purely human nor purely plant, but something unique, a true hybrid of both species' best attributes. The Lena stood at the edge of what had once been the colony's central plaza, now an open garden where humans and verdant speakers gathered freely. Children played alongside plant constructs, their skin showing the faint green tinge of symbiotic enhancement. "Do you ever wonder if we made the right choice?" Rodriguez asked, joining her. The security chief had been among the last to accept enhancement, but even she now sported the subtle signs of symbiosis. Elena watched as a young girl communicated with a verdant speaker using a combination of words and pollen patterns, a new language emerging from their cooperation. "I think we made the only choice we could," she replied. "And in doing so, we've become something neither species could have imagined on their own." The BioGenesis had indeed changed everything, not by conquering humanity, but by offering a new path forward. Together, they had defeated an enemy neither could have faced alone. Together, they would explore the stars not as separate species, but as a new form of life that combined the best aspects of both. As the system's stars set on the horizon, the hybrid colony ship pulsed with life and purpose. Sensors were already detecting other harvester activity in distant systems, other worlds that would need the protection only they could offer. "Where do we go from here?" Rodriguez asked, gazing upward at the emerging stars. Elena smiled, feeling the subtle connection that now linked all members of their community, human and verdant alike. "Everywhere," she said simply. "We go everywhere." In the vast darkness of space, the transformed BioGenesis began to prepare for its next journey. No longer just a ship, no longer just a colony, but something new. An evolutionary leap forward born from necessity and cooperation. Humanity hadn't just survived. It had transcended, finding in an alien intelligence not an adversary, but a partner in the next stage of cosmic evolution. And somewhere, perhaps the Earth of the future timeline was changing too. History rewritten by an encounter that defied time and space, giving hope to a planet once thought lost.